up tonight on CTV News, the Prime Minister announces funding for Restart the Heart, which will see Cashel Mall open in October. Welcome to CTV News, I'm Kenetta Knight. A media conference was held this morning in the Central City Red Zone to announce $3.36 million in funding for Restart the Heart. Prime Minister John Key was there and also said he was excited about the Central City plans released yesterday.
Prime Minister John Key says he hasn't been into the Red Zone for a number of months and he was surprised at how much has changed.
It's a combination of emotions, actually. I think, firstly, quite sobering, just the extent of the damage. When you leave the city and you're not intimately involved in it, you forget just how significant the damage has been and the destruction to the people of Christchurch. I think, secondly, I can see the progress that's been made. The team's doing a fantastic job. Obviously, a lot of buildings have come down, and I managed to get an indication of the number of buildings that will follow from here. So, a lot of progress happening.
Prime Minister Key was in the city today to announce help for the city's retailers with the Restart the Heart initiative.
We are here really today to launch a project, Restart the Heart, which is really all about saying we want to get some retail activity happening here back in Cashel Street, back for Show Week, first week of November. And really it's a display of yet another step forward in progress in restoring the vitality, the heart of Christchurch, and the belief that this city will be rebuilt and come out of the ashes of destruction to be an even finer city.
Restart the Heart will see around 65 containers put into Cashel Mall as a temporary shopping precinct. This will be funded by the Christchurch Earthquake Appeal Trust.
The trustees are most interested in funding projects that provide a bridge to the future, projects which help our community move forward. The Restart the Heart program is an initiative to kickstart retail right here in Cashel Mall. It will allow displaced business owners to come back to our city, and it will help the centre city to become the vibrant retail hub that it was before.
The funding for the project, which is just under $3.4 million, is coming from the fund that I established and that Mark Weldon raised the money for. It's a loan in effect for 3 years at 0% interest, but with the full acknowledgement that probably not all the funds will be returned in due course. We're happy to take that risk, if you like. In the end, this is about putting some of that money to make sure that we can get this project off the ground.
It's hoped the over 65 businesses registered will bring people and revenue back into the heart of the city. A group of Central City business owners have been trying to bring economic revenue back into the city as soon as possible to help get the city back up and running.
So when the earthquake came along, there was a group of us who had already had a concern about what was happening in the centre of the city and was working with the council to put our point of view. So when this came along, we decided that we needed to be proactive and try and find a way of bringing some economic activity back into the centre of the city sooner rather than later.
Earthquake Recovery Minister Jerry Brownlee says there's one example of what these shops will look like already set up in Christchurch.
If you want to get an idea of what these containers look like and how good they can look, you've only got to look at what Quinns have done down on Papanui Road with got on their site a container, and they've dressed it up as if it were a shop window. So I think it's going to look pretty splendid in here.
And speaking of Quinns, Pete Smith went down there yesterday to see how their shop display is working for them.
It's a well-known fact in retailing that the key in a lot of cases is your shop window. That's what draws people in. They love to look in the windows, then they come into the store. Well, we've come to one of the landmarks of Merivale, there's no two ways about it. We've come to Quinns, probably one of the most upmarket stores in Christchurch. And of course, we're in the middle of Grand National Week, we're coming up to Cup Week, big carnival time. How are you going to display your goods after your shop had been pulled down? Now, a lot of us used to drive past and see all the boots and everything hanging out the window. We'd love to have pinched a pair, but we didn't. But they've come up with a very novel idea here at Quinns. And Robin's going to tell me all about it. Robin, Quinns in a container?
I know, who would have thought? But on February 23rd, the day after the big earthquake, Margaret decided that was going to be the way to go. She knew that we wouldn't have a shop front for some time, and so she ordered the containers the very next day.
Had she ever seen containers used as a shop window or not?
Not necessarily as a shop window, but we had seen photos overseas of some sort of pop-up store type of thing, and so thought, well, you could put a glass frontage and use it as a window.
Now, it's devastated behind. The shop's gone now.
It is gone, yeah.
What's been the reaction from punters?
It's been amazing. I mean, we always had near traffic jams outside the windows anyway, and so we've had people ringing, emailing, saying it's brightened their day to see something positive happening in Christchurch.
And how often do you change the windows?
We change them once a week on a Wednesday.
Really?
Yeah. So
okay.
always keep it up to
So
date.
we're in the summer collection, spring collection, what are we into?
Definitely into spring. We launch into spring quite early at Quinn's because we have a lot of people travelling and they always want something new, or they want something new for the races, that sort of thing. So yes, definitely into spring.
Now I'll get shot by all the viewers if I don't ask you the question. What's the colour of spring, or doesn't it matter?
This year there's a lot of colour. We've had an amazing reaction to our bright coloured jeans from J Brand, and we've had every colour of the rainbow: orange, green, red, pink, yellow.
So blue denim's gone?
Blue denim is kind of gone at the moment. You've got to wear a colour.
Is
definitely.
that right?
Yes.
Okay. So I think we need a bit of colour in Canterbury, don't we?
We do, yes. Yeah. And here I am dressed in black.
You are. Never mind. I mean, you can never go wrong in black.
Well, you can't go wrong in black, and you can always accessorise with
And you've
colour.
got a bit of bling on.
I've got a bit of bling,
yeah. Which is always handy to have, isn't it? Now, you and I are going to have a bit of fun. We're actually going to go into the window at Quinn's.
We're going to be the live mannequins.
Thanks, Robin. Looking forward to it. So, Robin, you had to put this container out.
Yes, we had the glass windows put in the front, which had to be safety glass, obviously. The lights were put in, the grid up the top so we could hang things if we need to, posters and what have you.
Yes.
And all painted, yes.
All painted out, yeah.
And on the outside
warm
as well.
in here.
Very warm in here, yes. It actually gets really hot when you're changing the mannequins in here.
But you change the window every week anyway, so the clothing's not going to get damaged.
No, the clothing's fine.
Who comes up with all the ideas to change them?
Well, it is really my job.
Yeah.
Yes, I come up with, as soon as we get a new range in, it's always nice to put it into the container, and just props and what have you is usually my thing as well.
Well, there you are. You see, it's almost like having a bucket list, isn't it? I've driven past here so often. I thought, one day I'm going to get into the window of Quinn's, and Robin and Pat and Margaret have been kind enough to let us in. Trade's good.
It's very good. I was just thinking you probably would have rather we had the lingerie window.
I might never have got out. Good Lord. Well, we've come on a day when all the mannequins are fully clothed, I've got to tell you. So there we are. But no, success story in Mirabelle. Very, that's Kiwis for you, isn't it? They think through the impossible and come up with a really good concept. They do. Yeah.
Coming up after the break, the community chips in for a team in need. Welcome back. The community has rallied together to send Māoriho's basketball team to the national champs.
Māoriho High School's senior basketball team are testimony to where there's a will, there's a way. They recently won the South Island Championships in Dunedin and were looking forward to competing in nationals. For many of them, a dream come true.
We're coming away from Dunedin, guys were on cloud nine. I'm really excited about the win that they had and looking forward to the next part of the journey.
And then reality hit.
It really was a case of, okay, we have no money left. This was kind of really unexpected to get the win. So how do we get some dollars to make the next part of the journey come true, going to nationals?
The team approached Christchurch Central Labour MP Brendan Burns and the Lions Foundation, who both came up with $2,500 each to send the boys north.
Well, an approach was made to us by the school, looking for funding to get the boys up to Palmerston North for the finals. It's a low decile school, so money is not easy to come by.
Nationals begin on the 21st of August in Palmerston North, during which Queen Elizabeth College have offered their school marae for accommodation. Starting at 7 most mornings and practising 4 times a week, it's no wonder they're seeded first and are quietly confident of taking out the tournament.
It puts a bit of pressure on, but we'll ride on that, and if we all play our game well and the kids play their organised game really well, it'd be fantastic.
But this game of basketball is more than just a regular one.
A lot of the guys, for them it's more of a great experience rather than just playing ball, and they've been really enjoying it. They've been really looking forward to nationals. It's it's more of a family thing now more than a team thing.
A family that stretches further than just the team, but includes the whole community.
Sometimes even hundreds of people come in, just fill the benches and just watch our games, and we don't see that in many other schools, but here it's just great. So the community is really helping out as well.
The crowd's proof the team is helping fill Canterburyans with a sense of pride.
What we are wanting as a community are these symbols of success, something to celebrate, something to be proud about, and something to discuss other than some of the darker things that have happened in our city.
But it's not just about being talented in sport. The ability throws through to academic studies. Mr. Gorry says the school is working on ensuring students have a life balance, one of the original ideas of having a basketball resurgence in the school, which won 9 national girls titles and 3 national boys titles in the 70s.
Coming off that foundation, really wanting to bring into a balanced lifestyle, making sure that their academic pursuits as well as their sporting and other social areas of their lives are connected together and working well. And I think we've really done that well this year, and long may it last.
So with a strong reputation stretching back 40 years and a tradition of bringing back gold, the team has the backing to become champs.
And Lorraine Taylor from Variety Children's Charity says helping out Canterburyans is majorly important. She gave us an example on City Life about helping out the kids in need.
Variety is Variety, the children's charity, and we've been operating in New Zealand since 1989. And we've supported children who are sick, disabled or disadvantaged all around the country since that time, including Christchurch and the Canterbury region.
Okay, so at the moment you've got an appeal running, Give an Hour. Tell me about that.
When the February earthquake occurred, we were so overwhelmed by seeing the volunteers out who were getting in and giving so much of their time, and we realised that for our contacts around the country and internationally, they couldn't give an hour of their time, so we asked if they could give an hour of their salary. So that's been a really great campaign. We've raised close to $300,000 so far from individuals around the country and internationally, and also from organisations such as Tupperware, who through their Asia Pacific region and locally have raised $87,000. Federated Farmers have funded or provided us a grant with $20,000, and the cinema industry has got behind us as well and raised funds through movie screenings. So, people want to help and want to make a difference. So our Give an Hour appeal has been really successful. We've been quite overwhelmed by the response.
And this is going to Christchurch?
Yes, so 100% of the donations that we've received will go to support children and families in Christchurch. And when we started off, we weren't certain what the need was going to be, but we've been really humbled by the grant applications that we've received for funding. And a lot of the requests are for quite basic items. So we're receiving grant applications for firewood, for school fees, for school uniforms. And it just seems to us that for many families, they were doing okay before the earthquake, but after the earthquake, with people losing jobs or homes being affected, it's just tipped people over the edge, and they're just looking for that extra bit of support in the terms of a donation or a grant from us that can help them get over the line.
Ivy Harper from the Lincoln University Students Association says they marched yesterday to highlight the final days of the Education Freedom of Association Amendment Bill.
We decided, as a result, currently there is a bill before the committee stage, and we are obviously opposed to it as a student association, and we're rallying and we're just reminding the students and indeed the university and the community what they will miss out on should their student association no longer be available or at their institution.
Let's look at the bill that's going through committee stage at the moment.
Well, the bill currently the current law allows for students to choose at their institution whether they would like compulsory or voluntary membership. At our institution, our students have voted for compulsory, but we do have an opt-out system for students, so if they wish to, they can actually not be a member of the association and they can just apply. Legislation unfortunately means that their money is given to a charity, and so it's not actually given back to the student. And we're asking, well, if that's the problem, then simply change that piece of the legislation so that students can receive their their refund.
Okay, so that's the biggest issue here?
I think it is, and certainly, I mean, the bill is unnecessary. It's very destructive for student associations, and it takes away a choice. Currently, the Minister will have us believe that it's freedom of choice, but in actual fact, it's taking away a choice that students currently have. And I think that's the important part, that at your institution, students can choose what they want.
Okay, where has this idea come from? Why is the bill going through?
Well, it's an ACT Party bill, and I'm pleased that you raised that. We had over 4,800 submissions on the bill. 98% of those were against it. A similar legislation in Australia saw had devastating effects for student associations, particularly for the small and rural associations, of which Lincoln is both. And unfortunately, the government continued to support this ACT Party bill, and we're asking them simply to come back to the table. Let's have a more reasonable approach and find some solutions that students can continue to receive the services that they currently receive.
Do you think you've left it too late to do a rally in I guess, protesting this bill?
We've actually, it's 2 years exactly next Saturday since the bill was pulled out of the ballot. And we've been highlighting the issue for almost 2 years. So, we're kind of tired, to be honest. Tired that we need to defend, that we represent and advocate for students and the services that we provide. And we've been doing a number of things, whether we've been out with a banner, we've been to Parliament, so there are lots of things we've been doing. So this is probably the final, stage, and it's like, well, we've been going for so long. Let's finish it and just remind everyone again what the bill is all about and what it means for our students.
What will happen with the association if it does get passed into law?
Certainly for ourselves. Unfortunately, we don't have a bookshop through the middle of Queen Street or thousands of dollars worth of assets. We're small, we're rural, and we try to give back. In fact, we give back all that we can back to our students. So that means not hiring out rooms that we own or that we can have access to our students. It's simply just allowing them to receive the benefits. So it will just mean that a lot of those services may not be available. The advocacy and representation that we provide, and it's independent of the university, that is also compromised, and there is the potential for that to be lost as well.
Welcome back. A man abseiling down the side of the City Council building is not something you see every day, but Gracie Fee found a man this morning who's doing it for art.
Two industries that are usually opposed, art and construction, have come together. A 29 by 29 metre piece of artwork has been attached to the side of the Christchurch City Council building and is attracting a lot of attention, especially this morning when its creator got up nice and close, abseiling down the front of the building as celebration it had finally been erected. The display is part of the Scape Christchurch Biennial of Art and Public Space event, which runs until November. The piece, inspired by opening a filing cabinet and seeing the organisation tabs, has gained a lot of significance, with people's reactions proving deep.
There's people that are saying, for me, that reminds me of the things that I've lost. I see the files and I think of the things that I've lost. I think of the memories that have been lost. I think of rooms in my house that have been lost. I think about the house that's been lost. And for some people it might even represent, tragically, the lives that have been lost. So perhaps it's a memorial piece.
And being on the side of the council building, people are sharing more literal thoughts.
Maybe it's got to do with all the administration side to do with the earthquake. Maybe, this represents the landing building consents and the land claims, and maybe it represents the EQC claims. Maybe it represents all the insurance claims that are going to go through over the next wee while.
Hawkins project manager Andy Rowden, who helped display the artwork, a 3-week-long task, says it was an interesting challenge.
This is the first time I've ever been involved with anything that arty. Obviously, usually we build buildings, so it's quite novel to get involved with something different.
And its printers feel the same, with the piece being at least 10 times bigger than anything they've ever worked on.
It's absolutely massive, 900 square metres, and it's great, it's fantastic. It's exciting to work on a project like this and to be part of the whole Scape Festival.
The piece, which is the biggest display in the Southern Hemisphere, was inspired before the first September earthquake, and its purpose has now become even more significant.
It was supposed to be a whole lot of artworks that were going to go into the central city to reinvigorate the central city, try and bring people back into it.
Being the third time attempts have been made to erect the piece, which was meant to be put up around the September and then February earthquakes, called for dramatic celebration.
It's had its own little problems, but managed to solve all of those and get it up looking quite good, so
Are you
pretty
a bit
happy
worried
with
for Darren abseiling down the building?
No, we've done that a few times. The structural engineers have been down, so no, he's in pretty safe hands.
Proof an artist will go to any length, no matter how extreme, to celebrate their creation.
That's CTV News. I'm Kenetta Knight.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.